Hello, 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 hello. Good afternoon. We're going to do some coffee time in the afternoon. So I'm streaming live on, I think, Facebook, YouTube, and TikTok. Hello, 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 hello. Hello, thank you, Paris. Hey. Hey. So, yeah, I'm on here. We're here to talk about some kitchen table talk. We're going to talk about this whole thing, like, how do we get in it? See my Black Lives Matter? Let me see if I can see it better on here. My Black Lives Matter shirt. How we get in it? How did we get in it? And I'm going to bring up Miss Reese Colbert and let her give y'all a word here. Let me go on back over here to Instagram. Let Miss Reese Colbert tell you what the real deal is.
Surely, you mentioned war. Sure, the left has been talking about war. You have Maxine Waters. You have Michelle Obama.
Ain't nobody got time for that shit. Don't come up on here trying to put black people in this shit. What happened to Charlie happened in white Utah with all white people. Why are you talking about black people? Don't talk about no motherfucking black woman when Charlie Kirk was gunned down in white ass Utah. Don't come up on here with that shit. Don't come up on here with that shit. Talk about a white person. Do not bring black women in this shit. Black women ain't never been nobody's motherfucking mass shooter. We ain't never had nothing to do with that shit. Don't have no motherfucking black woman's name out your mouth over no Charlie Kirk. Now what? Move on.
She said move on.
Why are we in it?
Why are we in it?
What the fuck does the black woman have to do with goddamn white ass Utah? The only black woman in Utah I know is married from Real fucking Housewives in Salt Lake City. And she a goddamn preacher.
And let's be clear, Maxine Waters was one of the most outspoken critics of the Iraq War. to even make the comparison is just ridiculous.
Yeah, don't do that shit. That's why I'm telling you about these motherfuckers. They glitching out because it wasn't a black person in sight. And now they got to bring us in it. HBCUs getting threats. For what? Why are you talking about Michelle Obama? Michelle Obama said, "Let it go low, we go high." How the fuck is Michelle Obama in it? Why is Maxine Waters is 80-something years old? Why are they in it? Don't talk about what Donald fucking Trump. We just talked about Jesse Waters. Don't come up on here on this black ass radio station talking about fucking political violence and black women because they ain't never been no case. Never. I'm not going for it. And I'm trying to keep it cute, but do not fucking bring black women in on this shit. We ain't got nothing to do with it.
Nothing. Not a damn thing.
Surely, you mentioned war.
Not a damn thing to do with it. We didn't have anything. So how did we get in it? That guy, my screensaver on on TikTok is of Tyler Robinson. That guy. He's the one who did this. That guy from Utah. Hell, like Funky Dineva said, shit, we don't even know where Utah is. And the only thing I know about Utah is Mitt Romney, because he ran against Barack Obama. I know of the Utah Jazz. Is that what they call the NBA team? And I know about Mary from the Real Housewives of Salt Lake City. And I know about the Mormon and Sister Wives. That's all I know. So how the hell did we get in it? Why? How did black people get in this? It's a white people crime. This is white on white crime. It had nothing to do with us. Nothing. And the reason why they say, allegedly, the reason why he took him out, because he wasn't far right enough. He wanted Charlie Kirk to be more right than what he was. More racist. More, all that more is what he wanted. But yet and still, black people were villainized, which is totally ridiculous. That they had black colleges on lockdown. Let me go on over there and let y'all see. They had black kids in college up here getting death threats. Here we go.
On alert and on pause, at least 6 historically black colleges have halted activities after receiving potential threats against their campuses. The lockdown measures come in the wake of yesterday's shooting of Charlie Kirk, though officials have not linked any of those threats to that shooting. Our Alex Brachet joins us now with more. So what are we learning about the threats and the lockdowns and where it's taking place, Alex?
Yeah, Kira. So we're tracking now at least 7 of these HBCUs that have been under lockdown in the past 24 hours following that assassination of Charlie Kirk. That includes Alabama State, Hampton, Virginia State, Southern, Bethune-Cookman, Clark Atlanta, and also Spelman there in Atlanta. Now, some of these universities have already begun the process of lifting these lockdowns or shelter in places. Others have, like Southern, have actually extended those through the weekend. They've canceled classes through the weekend, which at this moment, that is the longest extension of this lockdown. But I can tell you that the FBI has released a statement. I don't know if we have a full screen of it, but it does say that the FBI takes these threats very seriously because it puts innocent people at risk. While we have no information to indicate a credible threat, we will continue to work with our local, state, and federal law enforcement partners to gather, share, and act upon threat information as it comes to our attention. But I can tell you that we've been in touch with a number of students, including some on the campus of Hampton. Our team has, and you know, as you might imagine, Akira, I mean, this is really shaking a lot of these young students up. There's fear of uncertainty and also possible violence as this is yet another instance of their campuses being threatened.
And I see civil rights leader Reverend Al Sharpton responding to this as well. Alex saying political violence or acts of hate get us nowhere. We can march, we can debate, but we cannot cause physical harm to those we disagree with. Alex Brachet, thank you. On alert and on pause.
So, how do we get in it? Is what I want to know. Charlie Kirk, I've been knew who he was. Yeah, I watched a lot of news and everything. I knew who he was. I watched Roland Martin. Shout out to him. I watch NBC. I watch Tiffany Cross. Who's the the guy who used to be with Tiffany Cross all the time. Jesus. Well, anyways, I watch a lot of their podcasts. I knew of this Charlie Kirk and the vile things he would spew about different religions, different races, and definitely about Black people and Black women. Here's this college dropout, goes to different colleges to debate young people about life experiences with different race and cultures of people. And he has all this stuff made up in his mind. Like the fact it is like poetic justice, the way he was taken out. You're speaking about gang violence and Black on Black crime. And what happens? White on white crime, your own kind took you out. Your own kind. Your own kind. And then to be, yesterday I went live on YouTube and just streamed the press conference that was going on from the governor of Utah. And this man had the nerves to say that he wished it had been someone from another state or country, not one of us. It was him, one of y'all Mormons. They say his ma, pa, and grandmammy all were MAGA. All of them. He's one of y'all. It ain't the worst of y'all. And you know, all the MAGA people was upset. Here the white MAGA men talking about white men must fight back. Fight back who? It was your own kind. Because you know, when they talk about like Black on Black crime, you know, they're always saying that Black on Black crime. Most times, most people off people in the same, the same kind. You don't have most times where the intersections of different races really taking out the other ones other than them. But usually White people kill white people, black people kill black people, Chinese kill Chinese, Mexicans kill. That's usually how it goes, unless you're killing what's around you. So for them to always, target the black on black crime, here we got within the same day of this shooting, there was a young white boy in Colorado, age 16, that killed them kids or shot them. I don't know if they died, but the kids in school. But it was overshadowed by this Charlie Kirk incident. But I definitely knew who he was and what he was about. And did I feel sorry? I mean, I don't think anyone deserves to die because of their rhetoric, but you can only spew so much hate. Hate begets hate. Love begets love. Messy begets messy. I'm messy over here. But them chickens came home to roost. Those chickens came home to roost. Those eggs and hatched. And for the sake that we in a city, a state of where there's predominantly zero, I don't know, what is it, 0.5 blacks there? I mean, how many blacks are other than, I know how many blacks are in Utah, really, other than the basketball team and Miss Mary from Real Housewives and her son. How many blacks is actually there? And I'm from Indiana, but I ain't never heard of nobody famous come out of Utah other than the people that's on the basketball team and other than Miss Mary of color. But we do know, look, there's famous people that came out of Indiana. Babyface, the whole Jackson 5, Mike Epps. I can go on some more. Vivica Fox. So, it's black people here. It is. But how did we get in it? Why is all this hatred and vitriol aimed at black people? Why? I don't understand. Why? That's our kitchen table talk for today. Why? Those kids were in school, minding their business, hundreds of miles away from this all-white event. All-white, I think, Mormon event. This is a Mormon college. We ain't got shit to do with it. And like Funky Dad even said, we don't even know what fucking Utah is. I have a brother that been there before. And I have to ask him, what was it like? But we don't know. Thank you, Tay-Tay66 for joining. I'm looking at people over there on TikTok. I'm trying to learn. And I know TikTok is a little bit more sensitive than YouTube is. So I don't want to get too off the hook. But then I look up and down my my feed on social media and my Black Lives Matter shirt. I can't really see it over here. But yeah. On social media, and there's black people debating each other about this man. Why? We all can agree that your words should not mean that you should get murdered. But Dr. Martin Luther King, he spoke on peace and love. He got murdered. Here is Malcolm X. So, he believed in, hey, you hit me, I'm gonna hit you back. But he still wanted, he didn't speak ill. Well, he probably did a little bit. I don't know. But we know, he was not as submissive as Dr. Martin Luther King was. But he was still wanting rights for blacks. And he was murdered. But he was murdered by his own kind. Now, I don't know about Dr. Martin Luther King. And we know the Kennedys was, assassinated by their own kind. So when we're sitting here, we're looking at this, I watch it, I'm like, dang, that was really messed up. Because when I even seen the video of the guy, he was speaking and his last word was violence. And I think he was speaking on gang violence, and it was just, it was something. It was something. So I don't know. This is it's horrible, but I really feel like you can't preach hatred of others and think that the others is gonna feel bad when they take you out. Your own kind. They say you weren't extreme enough, so they take you out. Your own kind. But the other people, thank you, Paris. The other people are supposed to feel bad. They're supposed to cry boo-hoo. And they are censoring people. If you say anything ill about him, this man said everything ill about everyone that was not his kind. And there have been people are losing their jobs. Comcast came out with a whole statement asking, I just like to know if Farrakhan, if something like this happened to Farrakhan or Malcolm X, anybody who was like, really kind of pro-black or whatever, would they have these same sentiments how they had with Charlie Kirk, who did, he was, the words he said about black women, about Michelle Obama, about, all these people who are Ivy League, smart people. Yes, they may have used affirmative action so they can get into the schools, because why affirmative was keeping us out of places. But we know that we have to work 10 times harder than anyone. We see, you can just compare. We have Barack Obama, we got 47. Mediocre. This man's other person is excellence. I don't know where all these people coming. No. And once they invite me to go, I don't know what they're speaking about, but I'm new to TikTok, so I don't know too much about it, and I'm not joining anybody's thing unless I know them. You ain't about to get over there because I talk shit with you. But so my whole thing is, you came out, we find that because we all knew. We knew when it happened. We knew. We knew. That's why I said, let's let the people solve their issue. Let them solve their issue, because we knew this had nothing. And just like, people were talking about, don't talk about, he talked about Floyd, George Floyd, Trayvon Martin. They was dead. He talked about them like a dog. Called George Floyd a scumbag. But it's mighty funny the things he said, like, for us to have gun rights, that, some people will have to, die. And, that's the sacrifice basically we have to make. And look, he took one for the cause. He didn't think it was going to be him. Because, them scary blacks is the one who do the things, not them. When them is the ones who do it a lot of times on a grander scale. We don't. Then he said something about like crime probably, 60 years ago. Black people didn't commit that much crime because they ain't had that many rights. And I guess he's trying to take us back to a time when you had no rights. Well, about 60, 70 years ago, there was such thing called as mob violence, and they would get away with it. Y'all watched the movie Rosewood, didn't you? When that lady lied and said somebody raped her and beat her up and said it was one of us, but it was one of them. And how they went through and took all them people out, women, kids, and whatever. They did all that kind of stuff. They would take their children to picnics and see these people hanging and burning. So all I want to know is when this, let me go over to the governor and let him say what he had to say. Here's the governor.
You know, this bad stuff happens. And for 33 hours, I was praying that if this had to happen here, that it wouldn't be one of us. That somebody drove from another state, somebody came from another country. Sadly, that prayer was not answered the way I hoped for. Just because I thought it would make it easier on us if we could just say, "Hey, we don't do that here." And indeed, Utah is a special place. We lead the nation in charitable giving. We lead the nation in service every year. But it did happen here.
Utah is a special place. They lead the nation in donation. Hell, Epstein was giving all kind of money to the Democratic Party. We see what kind of despicable human being he was. I'm not sure what verse it is in the Bible, but they say, what the Lord say, your good deeds is like filthy rags. That don't mean nothing, because I feel like this. They are saying that they're like, Christians or whatever. Really, they're nationalists, right? Nationalists. And don't conflate the two. Because I don't know. I think they must think it must be a separate heaven. We have a heaven, if you believe in heaven, I guess it must be a heaven for them and a heaven for everybody else. No, we're all going to be there together. Whoever make it in. I don't know, St. Peter. What was St. Peter saying about Mr. Kirk? All I can say is them eggs had hatched. Them chickens had come home to roost. And how did we get in it? We had no business even being a part of that conversation. None. Other than hatred. None. No part of the conversation. You see, because as they found out who did it, because the man own daddy turned him in. The man daddy was a sheriff. I ain't gonna say the man. Let's say his name. His name is Tyler Robinson, who was way, way, way far right. He was one of the ones that followed under, oh God, because that man got up there praying. They preach all kind of hate too. They're just as oh God, what's his name? Oh, I just saw it. Well, anyways, now when they found out it was one of them, they have an issue. Because, all while they thought it was somebody else, you got the crowd of white men out there talking about, we must fight back. I'm like, fight back who? Your cousin? Your brother? Your uncle? Because it ain't none of nobody else. Because nobody else normally does this kind of thing. No, to get up there, I mean, that man had some good experience up there. Was he a sharpshooter? Hell, I was in the military, but honey, I was barely, I hated going to the range. But he was up there doing the thing over 500 feet away. No. So, there's people, they're having a good time with it on social media. And I ain't mad at it. I'm not mad at it at all. People can get upset about, oh, they're celebrating his death. No, but since you're really mad because we're not mad about it, we're really going to rub it in since we know it makes you mad. And I done seen a rap video. It's been a lot. And I'm like, okay, it is what it is. So, then I've seen some, some of us over there. So, we don't support it. But, when something happened to us, he talked about it. And he talked about it like crazy. Now, here's one I'm going to play. I'm going to share this tab instead.
why they got a song and a dance trend talking about some Get Up Charlie. That's yo, the internet is crazy, bro. Don't blame me for this. I didn't make it up. Y'all some racist bitches talking this and that because we black and then somebody blessed them. Get up, Charlie. Get up, Charlie. Get up, Charlie. What that nigga Charlie super dead. Yo.
Oh no. He said, get up, Charlie. I mean, I don't feel bad about it, you know. I don't. You know, everybody has their opinions of everything. Like I said, I don't believe anyone should be taken out because of their hatred or their different, even in a different opinion of others. But you cannot go around and preach hate and expect love. I don't think so. You're going to get what you're going to get. You know, if I'm around here being hateful, you know, that's the law of reciprocity. Karma. If I'm going to go around being hateful, being racist, and trying to promote a life where you are putting down others, then the others don't have to feel bad that you are not here no more. You know, because you can have your ideology or whatever, you going around, because, you know, he thought he was in a very safe space. And the space wasn't safe at all. And I just wonder how many others was around, was even within a 5-mile radius of this whole event. Well, I take it back. I did see one guy that was there, and that the police put him out, and I think this was before. And they might have been kind of protested or whatever, but they were over there taking hats or whatever. So, you know, people were saying, oh, he was going into a crime scene. It was like, no, because we don't see any crime tape, and everybody else ran away. And I even seen a video when it happened, because someone was saying, oh, this seems staged. It didn't seem staged to me. And when it happened, that the guy that was running away, honey, you could see the goosebumps on his legs. I mean, it was just, you could just see you could see the goosebumps. I said, that's how scared that person was. So here's another one they did, honey. Let me go share this one.
Beyonce, even though she's, I guess, one of the biggest music stars ever, I find her music to be awful, unlistenable.
A Beyonce fan responds to Charlie's unnecessary hate for her music with this video right here.
Same. And just, quite honestly, just noise. It's not music. It's disgusting.
It feels so good to be alive.
Beyonce, even though she's, I guess, one of the biggest music stars ever, I find her music to be awful, unlistenable.
A Beyonce fan responds to Charlie's unnecessary hate for her music with this video right here.
Same. And just, quite honestly, just noise. It's not music. It's disgusting.
It feels so good to be alive.
The internet is undefeated, I promise. People are, you know, they're peopling. And folks don't care, you know. They just don't. Decorum is out the window because he threw it out first. So, how he stumped on everybody else's grave, they're stumping all over his. And I do feel sorry for his children. I mean, they're making him some kind of martyr now. You know, but your own kind did it. And we don't know what that could have been about. That person might have even actually knew him. Because like I said, the whole family was MAGA. The grandma was reported saying that she don't know if there was any Democrats in her family. And like I said, I don't believe in political violence. I don't. Not at all. We all should be able to say what we feel. But when I think one thing, because what I knew about him, I knew about all his rhetoric. But I really didn't realize how close he was to 47. And I'm like, well, did he have something to do with Project 2025? I'm just trying to figure out, if he's that close, maybe he's close enough to try to get policies passed. I know he was over something that actually had, I guess, more dollars than they said the Republican convention, the RNC. So he was, he was big in that venue. A lot of y'all didn't know who he was because, hey, he wasn't in the, we didn't know him. But I knew of him because I watched MSNBC and Roland Martin. So, like they was off with the heads the other day. Today they talking about pray for him. That's why they wish it was not one of them, because that would have gave them the right to unleash on everybody else. But since it was one of them, they cannot. They want to pray for the young man. They want to pray for him. He went to college and got radicalized. He only was there for one semester. But you can't blame this on the left. You can't blame it on any tranny, like the lady said. Let me go over here and let y'all hear this lady talk. That the lady who wants to run for governor, I think of North Carolina, what she had to say. This other lady's going to speak about it here a little bit. So I'll let you hear it.
Kirk murder until now because we didn't know anything. And since my channel was created not to report the news, but to make sense of it, I felt like the only responsible thing to do was to wait until there was more information. It now appears that the person who shot and killed right-wing political commentator Charlie Kirk was like the majority of shooters in America, a young white male from a conservative pro-gun religious background. After being told for 2 straight days that the left had declared war on America, that the shooter was most likely trans, or in Congresswoman Nancy Mace's words, pro-tranny, after the Wall Street Journal published an article they had to later walk back that the bullets had a pro-trans message because it turned out to be just the markings of one of the world's biggest ammunition factories, they were wrong. We still don't know the motivation for the killing, but we will find out more in the coming days. But here's what I'd like to do. I'd like to put it in context, because I think the biggest takeaways we have right now are the following. We have a gun problem in America. People who are unhappy have easy access to high-powered firearms to take their unhappiness out on others. The 2 children who were shot in school the same day Kirk died were shot by a 16-year-old who had been radicalized online by white supremacist groups and had easy access to a handgun. After years of being told by our own law enforcement, including the FBI, that the majority of domestic terrorism is perpetrated by white extremist groups who are the greatest threat to our national security, we have done absolutely nothing but allow those groups to flourish and grow. Charlie Kirk himself was one of the people who grew that movement. You only need to talk to the Black women and minority groups and marginalized groups or immigrants he personally targeted to get a firsthand account, or look back on any of his speeches or comments or debates to see that white Christian misogynistic narrative that he was preaching. Now, that does not mean that Charlie Kirk deserved to be shot. No one deserves to die in such a violent way. But we should question why this one death resonated so strongly with the same people who know school children die in the same horrific way every day but don't care. I want you to take what happened to Charlie Kirk and imagine that as a 6-year-old boy in class, or a 70-year-old grandmother at the grocery store, or a mother of 4 at Walmart. What is the difference? Is it that you saw it happen? That he felt like one of yours? That the event was so visceral and vicious that it shook you up? I understand that. But then let's take that as a lesson. That this kind of violence should be unacceptable to our country, and we should be doing everything we can to stop it. And speaking of stopping it, everyone from our president to members of Congress to media outlets and personalities chose to blame this event without evidence on their political opposition. Not just for one person's actions, but for violence and radicalization in general. It should feel ludicrous to blame one half of the country for a single person's actions. Not only that, but to demonize the political party who has done everything they can for decades to limit gun violence. The party who begged you to care about your fellow Americans being slaughtered at the movies or in churches or concerts or schools, but were met with nothing but thoughts and prayers and AR-15 lapel pins. How is it possible that the party of common sense gun legislation and the Office of Gun Violence Prevention could be the party being blamed for someone getting shot? And if we're talking about political violence, then we need to remind people that historically, it is the left who are the targets of political violence. It is the people who seek equality and change and justice and fairness who are most often assassinated. Everyone from Lincoln to JFK, RFK, MLK, Malcolm X. Gabby Gifford was shot in the head on stage. Minnesota Representative Melissa Hortman was executed with her husband and dog in their home this summer. And she was only one of 70 people on a list of Democratic lawmakers targeted for death. So I refuse to sit here while the Democrats and left are painted as the party of war. The Republican president himself just changed the name of the Department of Defense to the Department of War and threatened to invade Chicago. It was right-wing agitators who stormed the U.S. Capitol looking for lawmakers to kidnap and kill. It is the right wing who spent the past 2 days creating a false narrative, blaming an entire group of people for a violent execution with no evidence. The right wing who is using another American family's tragedy with gun violence as an excuse to start a war they already wanted to start.
Yeah.
So unlike everyone on the right who tried to capitalize on Kirk's death to spin some narrative to their own benefit, and everyone on the left who felt the need to lionize a man for free speech who did more damage with that speech in his lifetime than most people could ever dream of, I'm just going to stick with the facts. And the facts are this country has been deliberately divided and set on each other to the benefit of a small group of people in power, and we keep helping them. We are fighting each other when we should be putting all of our attention on them. The people crashing our economy and taking our healthcare and bankrupting our farms. The day Charlie Kirk died, the Republicans in the Senate voted not to release the Epstein files, something Kirk himself had called for them to do. But so many people don't even know that happened because their news and social media feeds were filled with a call to bring war and death to the Democrats. Sometimes things aren't as complicated as they seem. Ask yourself who benefits most from something and then see who tries to capitalize on it. The Democrats didn't do this terrible thing, but an entire political party and industry went into overdrive trying to make you think they did. Why? And what did we miss while we were dealing with that?
What we missed was, I didn't know about the kids in in Colorado. I did not know about that. I happened to see a little bit of something. I still haven't really seen it come down my timeline. We missed that, all about this. You would have thought that Charlie Kirk was actually somebody's representative, was actually in some kind of office. I heard that they are ordering flags half-staff for him. And then in the way they are trying to muzzle people that you can't even, somebody that worked in the NBA was fired, and so was it Matthew Dow? One of them news reporters on CBS or whatever, they fired his ass for saying something derogatory about, was it Chris Dow? I don't know. One of them. I don't know, but they fired him because what he said. And the thing about it is he spoke the truth. This man was not like he was going around being like a Joel Osteen. He was, I don't care for him either, but I ain't like Joel Osteen ever since he ain't let the people in the church when it was flooding down there. I thought the church was supposed to be for the refuge. No. And ever since then, I ain't like him. I mean, I am not saying I don't like him, but I ain't cared for him, so I don't care to hear his message. So you can't help the people around you. No. He ain't one of the folks in his church. But the folks ain't have nowhere to go, and the church is supposed to be the refuge, and he didn't want them coming in there. That's when it was flooded. What year was that? I forgot. We had just left Houston, too. One of them years, I don't know. But we was down there. Was it 2014, 15, somewhere in there? 16, 17, hell, I don't know. But I know he didn't want the people in his church. No, he didn't want the people around there in his church at all. So, but this guy, he wasn't even like that caliber of a person. The least seen, to put up a front like he spoke love. No, this man didn't, basically said, and it doesn't matter. Your skin color makes you not as good as he was, a college dropout. Your skin color determined all that, So your skin color determined, that you're not that smart. He said black women brains are too small. That's what he said. So, I don't know. And black people commit most of the crime. But ever since they have the Innocence Project, who are the most people that's getting out of that? when they go back and do the innocent project for these people, be black people. Because a lot of times black people were railroaded. That's why they're the biggest population, probably, you know, not the biggest population, but it was a bigger percentage because of the small population of blacks is here. We're a minority. But yes, they invented the prisons just to, you know, keep the slavery kind of going. So, hey, you know, prison was not made for them. It was made for us. So, of course. So when they go back and do the Innocence Project, yes, a lot of people, especially when they got DNA, they got off because it was never them. But in this case, it was them that did this, and us freaking villainized, which is ridiculous. Ridiculous. Why are the schools on the East Coast and down south getting villainized, getting bomb threats over something we had nothing to do with? Nothing. Something to do with in Utah, which probably almost 98% of us ain't never been, unless you probably going to a basketball game, and you probably ain't went for that. I can't even tell you who the players is on the Utah Jazz. I don't even know. Like I said, I don't even know nothing about Utah. But the Mormon, the Church of the Latter-day Saints, is that what's called? Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, whatever it is, them, the Mormons, the sister wives, Mitt Romney, because he lost and he thought he was going to win. And Barack Obama won that handedly. And, you know, Mitt Romney seems to be, you know, as good as a Republican could be. Seems like a pretty good moral guy. But this guy here was way far right than Mr. Kirk. So he wasn't far right enough. So, I don't know. When you spew hate, this is what hate begets. He should have been out here preaching love. Talking about, oh, if he would have met him, he would have been praying for him if he would have got a chance to meet Charlie. Bullshit. I don't know. But that's my rant on it. Y'all let me know what y'all think about it. Tell me, because, honey, like I've been knew about Charlie Kirk and all his racist rhetoric. I knew. I knew all about it. You know, I just thought, you know, when I heard about it, like I said, I mean, how am I supposed to feel? Because he wouldn't feel no ways about me. No. Hell no. He would say that's what the blacks do. So I'm like, how am I supposed to feel? I don't feel no ways tired about it. Like I said, he had nothing to do with us. We over here, they over there. Having their nice little gathering in a nice midday. This man then scaled up on the building and got up there. And honey, he had it all planned out. Now, since they found out it's one of them, they're over their prayers. And all I could do was do thoughts. I can't do the prayers anymore. I just thought about it. Because there's no way in the world that we should be in it. And with that being said, I'm going to go back to Risa Colbert.
Surely, you mentioned war. Sure, the left has been talking about war. You have Maxine Waters. You have Michelle Obama.
Ain't nobody got time for that shit. Don't come up on here trying to put black people in this shit. What happened to Charlie happened in white Utah with all white people. Why are you talking about black people? Don't talk about no motherfucking black woman when Charlie Kirk was gunned down in white ass Utah. Don't come up on here with that shit. Don't come up on here with that shit. Talk about a white person. Do not bring black women in this shit. Black women ain't never been nobody's motherfucking mass shooter. We ain't never had nothing to do with that shit. Don't have no motherfucking black woman's name out your mouth over no Charlie Kirk. Now what? Move on. Why are we in it?
Why?
What the fuck does the black woman have to do with goddamn white ass Utah? The only black woman in Utah I know was married from Real Fucking Housewives in Salt Lake City. And she a goddamn preacher.
And let's be clear, Maxine Waters was one of the most outspoken critics of the Iraq War. to even make the comparison is just ridiculous.
Yeah,
and
don't
he
do
already
that
hung
shit.
up.
That's why I'm telling you about these motherfuckers. They glitching out because it wasn't a black person in sight. And now they got to bring us to the HBCUs getting threats. For what? Why are you talking about Michelle Obama? Michelle Obama said, "Let it go low, we go high." How the fuck is Michelle Obama in it? Why is Maxine Waters is 80-something years old? Why are they in it? Go talk about what Donald fucking Trump. We just talked about Jesse Waters. Don't come up on here on this black ass radio station talking about fucking political violence and black women, because they ain't never been no case. Never. I'm not going for it. And I'm trying to keep it cute, but do not fucking bring black women in on this shit. We ain't got nothing to do with it. Nothing.
Surely you mentioned
Nothing to do with it. All they wanted, as the governor said, he prayed over them 30-some hours that it wouldn't be nobody, it'd be somebody from somewhere else, not one of them. He prayed and the Lord said, no, it was one of y'all. It was one of y'all. Somebody from that town. Well, I don't know if he's from that town, but that state, that religion, that political affiliation with someone in them. When nobody, we was enjoying what has happened? This happened on a Wednesday or a Thursday. No, it happened on my mom's birthday, because it was my mother's birthday that day. What a glorious day. September the 10th. My mom turned 70 that day. Yes, it was a glorious day. My mom, she had her birthday. She went to the church and praised the Lord that Wednesday night. And Charlie Kirk got a chance to meet the maker. Go figure. All I know was never, never, never. When we thought about it and we heard about it, we knew we had nothing else to do with this. That was not our thing. It did not happen at a university that was diverse. It didn't happen in a city that was diverse. And it damn sure didn't happen in a state that's diverse. So we had nothing to do with it. And why were we in it? And that poor old man they thought had something to do with it at first. They drugged that old man like that just to find out they had no idea. I don't even know why they picked him. What, because he was old? Drugged that old white man and just had his pants down by his ankles and just doing all kind of stuff to that man. Only to find out it was not him. So I don't know. But that is my rant on this whole Charlie thing. As far as I'm concerned, he can rest in peace. I'm not going to glorify you in death when you were a motherfucker in life. Not. Hell no. Rest in peace. Good night or good day. I'll talk to you guys later. Bye-bye.